Oldest bridge in Australia. December 11th, 1923. 1823, that probably says. Can't believe it. Australia is a really young country. Good effort, lads. So good morning. Today I've joined a tour to go and see Port Arthur, which is, actually, do we have to go up that way or that way? I can't remember. Maybe across the road here. No, I'm scared. I don't know where to go. I think it's just left. Well, let's follow this. Nope, that doesn't say anything. I'm lost already. I mean, we're in Richmond, which is a little village with the first bridge in Australia. Can you believe it? First bridge in Australia was built 200 years ago by convicts who were brought to Tasmania, and this was apparently the easiest way to get from Hobart, the port, down to Port Arthur, which was the penal colony, which is where we're going today. Today is the 27th of January, 2017, and today is what they call Australia Day. There is a lot of controversy over it, and they want to actually change the name, or change the date of today, of Australia Day, to turn it into something that's less celebrating genocide, because that's essentially what it is. This is the day that the first ships arrived in Australia to take over the continent and to depose a lot of Aboriginal people from their homelands. And the Aboriginal people call it Invasion Day, which makes a lot of sense. So they really want to change the date because they love Australia too, Aboriginals love Australia too, but celebrating the day that your whole world and culture was changed, turned upside down and never to do the same again, is not really something that is, yeah, I wouldn't like that either, you know? Anyway, so we're going to head out to this bakery, which thank God is open today, because it's delicious. They're all running ahead of me and I'm like, oh my God, I want to go to the bakery. All the bakery things are going to be gone. But it is beautiful here. All the buildings and everything, they're all old sandstone, and they were all built by the criminals as well. And most of them were Irish, sent down here because they were dissenters, or they'd stolen from the British or whatever, you know, people that they just didn't want around. So yeah, we're going to learn all about that today. Yes. Hello, we're currently at Pirate Bay's lookout, and there's a story that someone was coming from Hobart in the big ship, and they stopped off here to pick up fresh water, but the bushrangers, which are the land pirates of Tasmania, basically just robbed the boat and left them a tiny little boat with one oar, and they took them 3 days to get back to Hobart. So this is Pirates Bay, and it is beautiful. It is gorgeous. There's a lovely coffee shop over there, but they don't have anything that I can eat. But it's beautiful, and apparently it's really, really good coffee. But yeah, not for me. That's okay.
Share a bowl of water, not close enough to kill each other. There were even dogs on platform on the shallow water here on right. So if later on you want to go and grab a picture, let me know. In front of us, you see where there is that little girl with the nice green dress? She's next to a big statue. So that's how the dogs would look like you know, a nice bull mastiff. I'm just coming along here as after with the fence you can't see. But if anyone after on the way back or even now want to go grab a quick picture, that's fine, let me know. But yeah, that's how the dogs would have looked like, the same with a chain, with a little barrel. And yeah, I think that's quite smart. They were basically at first there to prevent, so to bark. But let's be honest, they didn't have much food either, so if you were trying to get through, you would probably try to get a bit of your legs. Okay. And on the right you can see there is some nice black swan.
Lavender farm. So Tasmania is famous for its lavender, and it smells delicious. All the bees are busy. Very, very pretty. But again, I can't eat anything. Oh well, can't be expected. That's okay. Look at the little bumblebee. They love lavender so much. Gorgeous. It really reminds me of the south of France, but it's actually a bit like wetter and colder. So maybe we can grow lavender in Ireland, seeing as the temperature is pretty much similar. I've got a beautiful water feature over there, so very relaxing. So, as I understand it, to harvest lavender, they actually use steam, use heat and steam. So they would pick off all of they would harvest it and put it all into bales, into a giant steamer. And as the lavender cooked, the oils would actually seep out and they're drained off the bottom. I think that's how it goes anyway. I visited a village in Nyon, which is in the centre of Provence, and it was a big lavender industry, and the whole town would it was in the middle of harvest time and the whole town would stink of it. It was lovely, but I'd say that's why most people left, because you'd get sick of it, I'd say. But yeah, it's popping, but it's nice to see. It's nice the bus journey's broken up. Bus journey from Hobart takes about 2.5 hours to get down to Port Arthur. I can't words. So it's nice to break it up with little stops here and there. And there's lots of ducks. So evil. Pure evil. That's this face right here. There's a helicopter up there. My. Now I don't know where the next stop is, but you'll find out soon.
Bearing silent witness to their presence here over all those millennia. These were their ancestral lands. I also like to acknowledge a far more recent event, the tragic massacre that took place here in 1996. There's a memorial set up to mark that event, just across the road over there, other side of the oval, beyond that screen of shrubbery. Now I won't say anything more about this. We have people working here who come from families stretching back generations here on the peninsula. All those families are interconnected. All those people were personally touched by that tragedy. So we don't talk about it, but there is a booklet available at the Visitor Centre if you'd like more information about that. But of course these are not the reasons that Port Arthur was listed as a World Heritage Site in 2010. One of 11 across Australia, which commemorated the transportation of convicts out here from Britain and Ireland during the 18th and 19th centuries. First convict settlement was established here in 1830, and at that time tall trees marched down to the waterfront, which is not where it now is. The original waterfront, about where the line of this road is that side of the picket fence. All this land in front where we're standing now, this is reclaimed land. Not reclaimed with heavy machinery of course, but pickaxe and shovel, wheelbarrows, convicts' backs. And this was done to take advantage of the deep and safe harbour out there. Once completed, wharves and jetties lined that cove. Ships could come in close, unload their goods, disembark their convicts, and goods are being exported from here from the outset. So set up here initially as a timber getting camp. There's a rich resource of the trees, the deep safe harbour, there's fresh water flowing down through Radcliffe Creek. Ideal place for such a settlement. And milled timber was being shipped back to Hobart for use in government projects from the beginning. But in 1833 it was acknowledged that two then existing penal settlements for secondary offenders here in Tasmania, or Van Diemen's Land as it was then known, had severe disadvantages. There's Macquarie Harbour on the west coast, Maria Island off the east coast. Macquarie Harbour is a long, dangerous and difficult sea journey from Hobart, and communication with that place took as long as it took to make that journey. Maria Island close to the mainland, and determined men could and effectively did escape from there. So this place was hit upon as the ideal replacement site. From here on a good day, 8 hours under sail back to Hobart, and once a system of semaphore signal stations have been set up across the peninsula, emanating from behind the Commandant's house, Cream House across here to the left, you can see a replica of one of those signals up above the guard tower on the brow of the hill, white arms reaching out from the brown mast. The original there behind the Commandant's house was on top of a 70-foot tall forest giant, tall as a tall ship's mast, and these stepped their way across the peninsula. They reckon when it was completed, on a clear day, a 20-word message could be transmitted to and from Hobart in 15 minutes. These were men who, once they had been transported for whatever crime, however minor or major it might have been, once here in the colonies, they continued to offend. They continued to commit crimes. These crimes were severe enough, they committed them often enough, they'd find themselves in a place like this. This was a place of secondary punishment for secondary offenders. And what did these men find once they'd arrived here? I reckon many of you would have heard tales of Port Arthur, but this was something of a hell on earth, where cruel and brutal treatment was meted out to these men. And I reckon by any measure you'd be right. If these men didn't toe the line here, they'd endure hard labour, often in extreme conditions, often with heavy leg irons on. They felt the sting of the lash, and they suffered emotional and psychological torment in the separate prison. Now I say the sting of the lash, that lash of course was the cat o' nine tails, and it was laid on with a will. These men could receive up to 100 strokes of a sentence. If they received anything like that amount, their backbones would be exposed by the end of it. And we have eyewitness accounts telling us that people standing up to 20 metres away were spattered with the blood and the flesh of these men.
This is the Supermax prison. This is a separate prison that was set up for the super violent offenders. And then just next door, big building, that was actually the Looney House, because obviously all that horrible treatment would turn them crazy. So I was given this card, I was up to it, and this card corresponds to one of the convicts here. I'll show you about the convict and the study centre. Let's find out. Go. The Queen of Hearts.
You're a surgeon. Oh shit, you're French. Read.
Goodness. 20.
If you want.
This is one of the solitary compartments, solitary rooms. They had to stay in complete silence. Oh my gosh, it's not a real fire. So sad. I'm going to stand here for a minute. So yes, this was the silent prison, so they were not allowed to speak or make any noise at all. The soldiers, the guards spoke with hand gestures, and there was carpeting on the floor and they wore felt slippers so they couldn't even hear anything. So the soldiers' barracks were up here on this hill, and coming down now, there's a couple of houses there, watchtowers, and there's a cruise ship out on. Apparently, the day after they decided to shut down the prison, like a truckload or a ferry load of people, of day trippers, showed up to see what the prison was like. Oh, we're just fascinated, aren't we? So the penitentiary's down there, the main one, and it was all segregated off. All the floors had different, so the top floor was the less offence, least offence, first time offenders, peaceful. Then the bottom floor was the worst. And then of course they built a separate prison and took the really bad ones in there, and then the crazy ones in the asylum. And then up here, this is the old hospital. And this site was ravaged by fires, bushfires, pretty much on the regular. So that's why everything's kind of in ruins, and the only things left are the the stone buildings. So yes, there's tents down there with some food, and I'm wondering, is there an veggie burger I could have? Kind of hungry. I did bring my own food because I did expect that there wouldn't be much here. There is a lot of lovely food here for people who aren't picky and people who have a lot of money, but not to me. Out this way, there was 25 metre swells. They would have been as high as the mountains. Maybe not mountains, but quite high. So this is the non-consecrated church, so that people of every religion could worship here, or maybe every Christian religion. But apparently there was a revolt of the Irish Catholics because one of the pastors was a Church of Ireland pastor, and he was pretty brutal. And they just refused, so they had to build a Roman Catholic church inside the penitentiary and have them do it, because worship was absolutely compulsory. I think that was the pastor's house. Oh, burnt down. Everything burnt down. So it's still not a church to this day, because it has never been consecrated. It's huge. So everybody worshipped here on a Sunday, including all of the wives, children, all of the wives and children and officers used to worship here, as well as all the prisoners. But I think all the wives were popped into here and shaded off, so you didn't have to look at all those scary men. And apparently these bells here were forged by the criminals, whatever they're called, convicts. There you go. Interesting. So we just got off the bus and we're coming to see the Tasman Arch, and then you just kind of turn and see this. Incredible.
Wow.
So we're gonna walk around and just go to the opposite side.
Yeah,
and
and
there's a
then-
lookout apparently on the ocean. Really cool, huh?
Wow.
Pirates Bay, yeah? Kind of like what we saw when we stopped off earlier, Pirates Bay.
Oh yeah.
I think so.
Wow.
We'll see in a minute. Good view. Here we are at Pirates Bay. Again, I suppose. Oh! The water doesn't look that far down on the other place, you know, but I suppose it must be. I like that little rock
That
right out
one.
there.
Over there.
It's so tiny. Holy mother of Mura. So straight down that way
Yeah.
is the Antarctic.
Antarctic?
Mm-hmm. Antarctica.
Where is it?
Yeah.
Atlantica?
Antarctica. So the bottom, South Pole. Straight down there. I think. Crazy. I love watching see the way the breeze is tipping the top of the water and then spreading out.
Yeah.
Just love watching it. It's a long way down. So this is the tessellated pavement, and there's like ridges coming up because when I in Ireland there's a very similar structure to this called the Giant's Causeway, but I don't even think they have ridges.